I'm Mark.
And I'm Teresa. Come hang out with us today
On My Fix It Up Life. Sanding walls before you paint? Do it the Hyde way, not the hard way, with Hyde's dust-free sander. Attach to your wet dry vac and go. No drywall dust on your furniture, no tough cleanup when you're done. Hyde tools are available at the Home Depot. Welcome to My Fix It Up Life Live!
Hi guys, I'm Teresa.
I am Mark, and today we're talking with Uber Realtor Danny Griffin from A&E's 60 Seconds to Sell. And Danny, thank you for joining us. I think we want to start with one primary question.
What's your primary question?
I think we need to set up his show first a little bit.
Why? It's his show. Like, can't he set it up for himself? I think he knows more about his show than we do.
How about it?
Danny, thanks for being here. And 60 Seconds to Sell, you sell houses fast. You're talking about the biggest investment many people make in their lives.
Yes.
So I have a very professional question to ask.
The biggest financial investment, because the biggest investment in life is love.
Your greeting card will be there via courier in one moment.
Did you just see the unicorn go by?
I did. The rainbow is right behind him, too. I love it. Nervous. It's all roses.
The main, primary, deeply professional question I have to ask you is, are you crazy?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. 100%. And did you notice that I'm sitting in my basement? So who goes to the bunker to do a Google Hangout other than somebody who's crazy? So yes is an easy answer to the first question. We're on a roll here. Keep going.
Well, you know, I am fascinated by the whole concept of 60 Seconds to Sell. And I do think that you have to be, like, have a really strong stomach to be able to not only do what you and your brother do, but the homeowners who are selling their houses to commit to, like, they must have, like, are people, like, throwing up before you go and do the auction?
Is it like the Super Bowl locker room?
There's no doubt about it. You know, again, going back to where you started, just take the context of the situation. This is the single largest financial transaction most people will ever make in a lifetime. And I think it's easy for some people to explain that away and say, well, but it's the bank's money and it's mortgaged. Come on. It's somebody's obligation to the bank. It's their home. So this is the place where they feel safe, and now they have to sell it. That just puts all of those emotions into one stew, and absolutely, when that moment of truth comes, how much is this thing really going to be worth, and where is that going to put me financially and emotionally? Absolutely, they have meltdowns. I mean, we actually had somebody have such a meltdown, they checked themselves into the hospital the day of. So there's no doubt about it. And I say that with a sincerity, too. You know, I think there's some great TV and some humor in that, but I take what I do very seriously, and we feel for those people. And, you know, we sort of feel like the triage doctor in that moment. We say, look, it's that case where you have to rely on us and trust us to fix this for you. We are that triage team when it comes to real estate. So there's no doubt they have that panic attack moment.
So for everybody who isn't watching A&E on Saturdays at noon, can we back up just for a second and tell everybody what the premise of 60 Seconds to Sell is? Yeah,
you bet. It really is a way to sell houses. I've been a real estate agent and broker for a long time, since specifically 1999, and an investor well before that into the early 90s. So as I got into real estate, I also had a background in investment banking, and I saw systems. I saw the best company. They were using systems. So in the process of selling a house, I'm always looking for the best way. Well, what we found is when the recession hit the United States, it was very difficult to find the right price for a listing. And you can do your top-down methodology, and there's companies out there like Zillow that are doing a good job to try to find it. But this came about because as a market tanks, you're trying to find where that price is, and if you're chasing it from the top down, that's problematic. So we looked into the auction method, which is what banks use all the time to get rid of property. So the stigma was that an auction method in real estate means bad. Well, that's not true across the globe. There's actually countries that use it as the primary method to sell a home for retail price. And what we found about the methodology in general, water finds its mark very quickly if you allow it to. If you dam it up with traditional methodologies for marketing and pricing that don't work quickly, then I think you're interfering with the natural process. So we had one client in the middle of the recession who really wanted to move the house. We asked if they would trust us and let us do this. We cut the price in half, held off all showings till that moment in time, that 60 seconds, and we had started the bidding, and I'll tell you what, since then, we were hooked. We just could see that this was a better way to sell it. Now, obviously, when you do that, it starts to attract attention, both positive and negative, but more particularly, it attracted TV, and that's how the show came about.
Wow, that is such a cool thing.
That is now.
Oh, I have a random question.
Sometimes I'm on the show, Danny, but right now,
so
not today.
I was reading your bio,
Yes.
and I saw the number 7 come up several times in your bio, because the number 7 agent worldwide.
Yes.
And then I saw, where is this? 7 years you were the head coach at a company. Mm-hmm. And then you have 7 people in your family, 5 kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
so are you like a gambling man? Like lucky sevens or something?
Here's what's great about that. I never recognized that at all until you said it, but you can guarantee that's going in my marketing immediately. So thank you. I love it. Yeah,
My pleasure.
Yeah, big check mark for you. There goes the unicorn again. Only this time you had a delivery.
It's a love story, and I bet you're gonna find the number 7 coming up a lot in your life. And I bet you look at the clock; it's like something 7 or 7 o'clock.
I like where you're going, because you don't end up with 5 kids without a love story, but we'll leave that alone today. All right? So you're spot on today. So, but it's funny that you asked that. Because I am the very opposite of a gambler. As a matter of fact, I can't stand gambling. I work too hard to make a dollar. I hate to think that I'd be giving it away. So as much as there's a perception that this methodology is risky, in my mind's eye, it is 100% calculated, mitigated away all the risk. We are very precise in this methodology. We are very clear in what's going to happen in that 60 seconds. And of course, there's major preparation for that moment in time. That is the moment of truth. But the reality of the whole thing is that you have to be prepared, and that's what the show highlights, is how to become properly prepared for your moment. So there is a very clear strategic approach to this, because I don't like gambling. Although I love your 777, so I'm in on this piece of it.
That's a nice little piece of mojo, and she's great at. I love that you find all that stuff.
I look for the story and everything.
I love it. I'm in. I'm all in.
He's all in. He's already got a tattoo.
I'm all in.
He's got a tattoo on his 7 fingers.
Wait, no, that doesn't really work out, honey.
That's 8, I think.
I hope he has more than 7.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I got it.
Right.
Anyway,
crazy.
Yeah, I got it.
We'll work on counting later.
How do you get homeowners? I'm going to back up for a second.
Sure.
You mentioned water finds its own level. Yes. And in economics, or selling and buying things, I guess the question is, how do you know you're at the right place doing it your way versus, pulling comps and doing all the things that every realtor has done for a million years?
I love it. Well, let's first of all, excellent question. Because it does come back to economics, right? Again, if I'm going to tell you and highlight the fact that this is a major financial transaction, you can't duck the economics discussion. So let's put it right there. What I am is no different from what I learned when I was working in investment banking. I'm a market maker. It is my job to bring that segment of buyers who are looking for that particular property at that particular moment in time and find out what they're willing to pay for it. Okay, so it's just traditional marketing, quote unquote. I don't even know what that means. I can't stand the word because it locks us into something. It paints us in a box. But I very much do a thorough analysis financially first. I don't just take the comparables. I actually look at where the solds are relative to their assessed values, so I get a trading range. And I don't want to get too specific on math and confuse people. I am extremely thorough on where I believe we should begin the price from the top down. To find a marketplace, there's nothing wrong with starting from the top down. The problem is when the market's moving away from you, today's top down, and of course every seller wants you to cheat to the higher end of their potential trading range, but you have to squeeze it from the bottom if you're going to properly make a market for it. So when you do it both ways, there's an exhaustion of all possibilities. This is not an all-in or you know, people ask me, do you do traditional marketing? They say, well, again, I don't know what that means. I make a market from the top down with comparables and more thorough analysis, absolutely yes. But I will take price off the table for a week so that we get that away as the eliminating factor. Do you know that in some markets more than 50% of the properties expire? And the main reason is price that's wrong, period. The wrong price trumps the best marketing that you'll ever come up with all the time. So by just simply taking price off the table, once all the traditional staging and conditioning and preparation, top-down comparables, all of that is still done. This is just a way to come from the bottom up and squeeze that sandwich so we really know where the true trading range is. That's where a great agent really digs in for the seller and becomes a great negotiator and gets that extra 2-3%. And I think that's where people are delusional. They think they can cheat 5 to 10% over where to probably sell. That's like a wet blanket at a love party, darling. There you go. I worked it in for you, okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm thinking about everything you're saying, and I am not a realtor.
Yes.
But applying it to my life and your life with having so many children. So I'm thinking that using this kind of method might be interesting when you're trying to get kids to do chores or clean up their room for like who wants to have a piece of cake or an extra scoop of ice cream, you know, and then you try to like auction that off with your kids. Have you ever tried that?
I've tried to auction my kids off to the circus. It didn't work one time.
Yes. Cool.
So, you know, what's interesting you say that. I think what it really comes down to, and I like that analogy, I am a neat freak. Ironically, I work a lot from the basement. It's where I find peace and quiet. I'm sitting in my studio here with my whiteboard behind me, but if I panned around, I'd show you that I am very much about organization even down here. So when it comes to the kids, and you look at their rooms, there's no doubt about it, you're not going to continually hammer somebody to do that. So there is that bartering that goes on. And that's where an auction method began. If you go back and Google round-robin bidding, what you're going to find is that's the way they got rid of the Roman Empire once it fell apart. My grandmother was a short, little, cute little Italian gal. They used to go down to the market and they bartered for everything. How much for the olives? No, is it too much, right? So no, and back and forth. Everything's a barter. So whether it's kids or whatever, you're right. Hey, you want more money for your stipend because you want to go out this weekend? Clean your room. Hey, you want more money for your house? Fix it up. That's what we need to do.
Well, you raise a good point. I want to circle back to something that you said in about the minute we have left.
Yes.
Couple top 3 things you coach homeowners to do to get their houses ready to sell.
Okay. Absolutely. The first thing is clean. The word clean. Because I think what people panic about when they look at Fix Up, and you guys make a living in this, and by the way, congratulations on really, you know, bringing this to the forefront. I would support you two anytime, anywhere, because this is absolutely the right direction for everybody when it comes to, and even when they buy it too, right? Yeah, it says up there too, the realtyclassroom.com loves right? My Fix It Up Life right there. So yes, I feel strongly about your work that you're doing here. So clean. Just clean it up first. That is the first step to fix up. Because when you clean things out and you minimize, go for that Zen approach. Get rid of things. That way you really can see a cleaner palette. Then, number 2, stage the space. The majority of people that are coming in to purchase a property do not have that gift of vision. So don't make them work so hard. Stage it. Even if you can't afford a stager, use what you have. Open up the flow. Don't choke things off. Stand back in a room, look at it like an artist and say, can I move through here smoothly? Where do I feel comfortable sitting down? So staging. And then lastly, if you're going to sell anything, be realistic about where you're really at. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you don't feel like you're a 9 to 10 on the motivational scale to sell that property, then don't waste your time, because you're going to have to be highly motivated, first of all, to do steps 1 and 2, but when it comes down to it, it's worth what it's worth within 2 or 3%. Be motivated to sell and be realistic about that motivation.
Danny Griffin, A&E's 60 Seconds to Sell. I've got about 600 more questions for you.
I'll be back.
But we have to go. You can come back anytime. And thank you for hanging out with us. And thank you for hanging out with us. Keep your design and DIY inspired while you're on the move with more My Fix It Up Life tips and ideas. Follow us. Follow Danny, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and make sure to check out the next episode of My Fix It Up Life Live.
Thanks, Danny.
You bet.